So we're here at the J Davidson Stadium in the aftermath of Altrincham's 1-0 loss to Barnet in the Vanarama National League. I've got manager Phil Parkinson with me. Phil, it was always going to be a tough game against a side top of the league, but there was a definite improvement in the Altrincham side from previous games. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of performance levels are improving, which I was hoping to see with players returning, such as Regan up front, Charlie Olsen coming back into the team. People like George and Isaac catching the minutes. So Justin Amaluza I'd include in there. I thought his performance levels were high again tonight when he come on. But it's another defeat, and it's not good enough for us for what we want to do this season. Fine margins again, but I must sound like a broken record. I must be annoying our fans massively. All I can tell them is the reasons that I'm seeing, and nobody wants to hear it, but it's facts. But you can see what I was saying previously with the lads returning. The performance levels are improving, and we switch off for one free kick that we don't set up correctly, which I'm absolutely livid about, and I've spoke to the players about that. And then we've missed a gilt-edged chance where it's almost exactly the same at the back post, but it doesn't go in for us, and that's why they're top of the league and keeping lots of clean sheets, and that's why we're dropping at the moment, because we're not able to convert up one end and we're not able to keep it out up the other. And I've said it so many times when we've been winning, that's been the difference for us in so many games, the fact that we've been able to keep the ball out of our net and score in the other, and that's obvious, isn't it, in football? But there's a lot of factors that contribute to that. So yeah, really disappointed to not get anything tonight, because again, broken record, I felt we should.
It was an intense start to the game. It was an intense first half, and Altrincham really looked quite positive in the early moments. Was that something that you'd planned in the week and throughout to try and stun them early on?
We plan to do that every week in terms of we're a front foot team. We always want to take the team to the opponent. We're not a team who like to sit off. I know at times we have to, because you're defending a lead at times. But in general, we're always going to try and win a game. And I know every team tries to win a game, but there's a way that you do it. You can either sit off and soak up loads of pressure and just hit teams on the counter-attack, or you can be on the front foot and do what we do, which I think is the most difficult way of doing it, trying to control a game and create chances rather than feed off people's errors. And I believe that's the style of football that best suits Altrincham. For a long time, it's been successful, and we've had a lot of success this season. But when you have a drop-off, people question a lot of the things that you do. But today, the game plan was certainly, and I'm sure people could see that we changed the shape quite dramatically for us, and we went man for man with them, which we've done a few times this season, but more so against teams like Barnet, who like to really dominate the pitch. And we got into really good areas. I was really pleased with particularly the opening probably 30 minutes, the areas that we got into. So again, to your average fan, that will mean nothing, because there's no end product to that in terms of a shot on goal. But when you penetrate the final third, that's what most teams want to do. And then the most difficult bit is to find that last little bit of quality, i.e. the pass, the pullback, the shot on goal. And when you're playing the best teams, they minimise that dramatically. But as I said, we had a fantastic opportunity. I thought we looked good from set pieces, attacking and defensively, but we couldn't convert. So I think it was the final 15 minutes of the first half where they really turned the screw in terms of territory, long throw after long throw that we dealt with, and then a free kick that we don't defend very well, and they punish us, and that's what good teams do when they get opportunities. So yeah, overall first half, as you said, we were front foot, we got at them, and I was really pleased with the majority of that first half performance.
Well, many teams in this league look to make the most of free kicks, set pieces, long throws. Altrincham dealt with those very well for the most part, especially a lot of those long throws at the front post. Was that something that you'd practiced quite a lot through this week?
Yeah, we did. We really... We changed it up. So where we changed the shape up, we changed our free kick routines up. Because again, everybody watches everything you do, so you can become predictable. But it takes time to get that right in terms of people understanding the positions. But the biggest thing is remembering them. So as I said, really frustrating that we've conceded from that set piece, because it's one that we looked at heavily, particularly Brown, because he stung us at their place. I can't believe that we left him free. That wasn't part of the setup. So that is on us, and it's something that we've got to do better with, because the big word that I used to my players in the change room was consistency. And when we're playing well, we're very consistent, and the performance was there with an element of consistency, but that's the difference between us and Barnet. They were very, very good at all elements of the game that you need to do to win today, and that's why they come out on top.
Tyler Golden was substituted at half-time. What was the reason for that?
Because he was on a yellow and he was against a very good player in Carnu. I know they changed shape like we did in the second half, so maybe would we have got away with him against Stead a little bit more, but I felt Carnu with his pace really posed a problem for Tyler because he would have had to go full tilt. And then Casper again probably gives you a lot going forward, but he's inconsistent still with his distribution, but he's a really exciting sort of fullback / wingback, so it wasn't a big problem because we were chasing. But yeah, it was a difficult one because I felt the ref. I'm sure that was a yellow for Tyler, but and a rightful free kick. But I felt those things didn't quite go for us on the day with the yellows and the decision making, particularly early on in the first half.
The chances didn't quite come as quickly in the second half as they did in the first. What do you think the reason for that was?
Because they're very good at denying you. As I said, I think that's their 6th clean sheet. I think they had. I don't think we could get away with as many attacking players as they have on the pitch in our team because their attacking players are extremely robust, extremely experienced at this level, and are able to be able to play in the deeper positions and be reliable and be robust defensively. And that's probably why they stopped our flow a little bit in the second half. But you're playing Barnet, who are top of the league, going through the league like a wrecking ball. And you're not going to create loads, but I felt we got into good areas. Matty Coslow got down the side. If he didn't have the extra touch and whipped it in, that was a great opportunity for maybe Noobs or Regan to get on the end of. Justin's had a swivel shot. But you're not going to create loads and loads of chances against Barnet. You're going to get into good areas, and then can you convert? And as I said, we've had a gilt-edged chance in the first half. We score that goal, that's 1-1. But it's not meant to be for us at the moment.
You've lost the last 5 in the league now in a row, last 3 at home as well. 8 games to go in the National League. Where do you go from here?
We've got to win the next 2. Got to win the next 2 to give ourselves a fighting chance. Everybody around us is sort of dropping points, which I know is frustrating for everyone because we want to be maximising on that. But that's football. It shows our strength and depth of the squad as well. We're probably not quite strong enough to deal with what we've had to when we've lost, obviously, Ethan. Rob's now finding his feet, but it's took us a few games to get him up to speed. Caleb, a few games to get him up to speed, as well as they've both done. And then Charlie coming back in when we've missed him, and Ethan, and then Regan coming back in after 3 games. So we're just not able to cope with that at the moment. Particularly, we're losing Joe Nuttall up front as well. We're losing Jake Bickerstaff now. So we've been absolutely hit for 7 on the injury front. And I said all the way through, right at the start when we were winning, the big thing will be injuries for us because of the size of the squad. And we can't keep going to the chairman asking for more money because there isn't more money. I know people are looking around saying, why are we not bringing in X, Y and Z? Because we've got that much money tied up in players who are injured. It's not rocket science. We just can't do it. It would be brilliant if we could. As I said, looking at what did Oldham recruit a centre forward from Fleetwood that they paid for. We can't do that. We're just not that team. So we're doing really well in terms of our league position at this point in the season, but we're in terrible form in terms of results. But it's 1-0, 2-1s. We're in every game at some point that's going to turn. It just needs to turn really quickly now.
Well, it's quite a lot of fixture congestion. It's quite consistently been Saturday, Tuesday and so on. Is that something that's really affecting the squad?
It is when you haven't got the players that you need on the pitch. You don't want the games coming as quickly. You want the time to be able to get them back. But when you've got suspensions, it doesn't really matter how much time or the distance in between games. So, yeah, it has from a fatigue point of view, but I felt it's probably give us the opportunity to give lads who've needed minutes that back-to-back game time, and we're hoping that's going to really benefit us. But the top and bottom of it is we can't keep dropping points now. We've given ourselves a mountain to climb, but I really do think that last playoff spot's going to go to the last game of the season. And if we can just hang in there tooth and nail, who knows, it could be us.
Well, over 3,000 fans inside the Joe Davidson Stadium today on non-league day. Of course, with losing, there is frustrations growing in the fan base of that. But what would you say to the fans ahead of the last 8 games?
We're all frustrated. So stick with us. I always say the same things. Just remember how far we've come over the last couple of seasons. This is our 3rd year of full time. So it's we've competed for the playoffs 2 years on the bounce. Look at Woking, who went full time, and they had 1 year where they really pushed, and then look, they're fighting relegation the last 2 seasons. We're not fighting relegation. We're not a much bigger team than Woking, than Wealdstone, who've come here, and look where they are in the table. All the teams who are in and around as you would expect to be in them top 12 positions and above us probably. So we're still fighting. We need everybody else around us to fight. It's horrible losing, but we're not getting battered, are we? We're in every game, and we're trying everything we can to turn it round, and we're hoping with our better players back on the pitch and available for us now, we can do that. If we've left it too late, then we've left it too late, but we can only deal with the cards that we're dealt, the hands that we're dealt. So nobody's happy with the results at the moment. Nobody's happy with the situation, and I feel everyone's frustration, but I hope everyone can see that team's fighting to the bitter end, and they'll keep doing that as long as we're here.
Thank you very much, Phil.
Thank you.